Hello and welcome to Tricks of the Asteroid channel. Today is the 7th of August 2017, and in today's feature we are featuring Donald Trump Jr. I want you guys to remember the name very clearly. I'm not talking about Donald Trump, the President of the United States. I'm talking about Donald Trump Jr., which happens, or as being told to us, is the son of Donald Trump. Okay, so is the feature today. We're gonna find out if Donald Trump or Donald J. Trump. Sorry, I have to make this very clear because I don't want people leaving comments and asking me, is Donald Trump, a transgender? Is he the sex he claims to be? I'm not gonna answer any questions about Donald Trump for now, just because I'm just gonna respect the fact that he's the president of the United States for now. If he gets impeached, or maybe his tenure is done after 4 years, then we'll take a good look and see if Donald Trump is actually what he claims to be. So, but for today, we're talking about Donald J. Trump Jr., the supposed son of Donald Trump. So if it's your first time on the channel, I'd like to welcome you. But before you go any further, because maybe you've heard some things that might tingle your ears and you want to continue watching the video, you have to pause the video right here. Okay, you have to pause the video and go look for the primer video on this channel, because without you watching the primer video, a lot of the stuff that I'm saying is not going to make any sense to you. You're going to have too many questions that I might previously have answered, and you just will not be able to get up to speed. You won't understand a whole lot. So let me show you how to get to the primer video in a second. So this is how you get to the primer video. The video is going to be called primer. There's a playlist for it. You can actually go look for the playlist in the playlist section of the channel, and you watch this video, because without you watching this video, there is no need for you to watch any other video on this channel. You have to watch this first. So when you click on the primer video, all right, or any other video besides the primer video, after you've watched the primer video, all right, there is a document that's attached to every video that we make on this particular channel. So all you need to do is go to the description section of the channel. There is a link right there. Click on that link. It will take you to this document. The document is called Male versus Female Visual Differences, right? It's a document that will help you to know the differences between male and female, because this is something that we ought to know, that everybody ought to know, being that all of us in this world came through a woman. So it shouldn't be that difficult, really. It's not rocket science. But because we've been, brainwashed right from the day you're born through the school educational system, which is owned by the Vatican and the media and everything else around us, our minds are blurred. We're not able to distinguish between a woman and a man again. All right. So this document will help you to reinstill that education back in you. So if you're solely interested in transgenders, because I will not be answering questions about anybody leaving a comment and saying, oh, I've been thinking about, is this person male or female? I'm not going to answer those kind of questions, because this is an education channel. I expect that you pick up the document, you take out the time to read it. It's going to be, the document is about 44 pages long, but I guarantee you it will take you 30 minutes to go through it, because it just has a lot of pictures. Just a lot of visual pictures to show you the differences between male and female, so you can do a transvestigation on your own. You don't need to ask me. I'm not saying you can't ask me, but if you really want to take the time and ask me that, send me an email. Don't leave it in a comment section. Send me an email about it. All right. So if you're solely interested in transgenders, because like I say, we feature a lot of transgenders on our channel, but the channel is not about transgenders. The channel is really trying to make you understand your world, to connect the dots of what's happening around you, so that everything makes sense. Because for some people, this whole world is really chaotic. They can't make sense of anything, because they've refused to put the one thing that God has given to every human being, their brains, to work. People don't think anymore. They just do what they're told, and that's it. But God did not create you to be a mindless creature. He gave you a brain to be able to think and reason things out. So I'm here to make you put your brain back to work, So for example, when I say look with your eyes and see with your brain, I mean that in all sincerity and fact, because that's how you see things. Your brain is the one that makes sense of the images that you're looking at and makes you understand. All right? So in all reality, you have to put your brain back to work. That's what you have to do. Because if you don't use it, you're going to lose it. That's just the truth. So you have to get this document if you're solely interested in transgender, so you can answer all your transgenders questions without the need of asking me. All right, I'm not saying you can't ask, but send me an email. Don't just leave it in the comment section, so we can work with this. Okay, so now getting back to the subject, this is a continuation part of a Myth of Whiteness series, and this is actually the part 6. So if you have to watch this video, besides if it's your first time, besides watching the primer video, you have to watch some other videos. All right, and let me show you those videos that you have to watch. So you're not gonna be able to watch the Myth of Whiteness part 6 that I am on right now and make sense of anything that I'm saying. You have to watch the whole series. Like I said, it's up to part 6 right now. It's actually up to a part 7, because the first part really doesn't is not a part 1. I just call it the Shakira transgender transsexual Vatican runs racism and hates the Bible. So that's the part that you need to watch first. Okay, you need to watch that. There's a playlist for it, so you can actually go to the channel and look up the playlist called Myth of Whiteness, and it's gonna run through the whole series for you. It's long videos, so if you don't like long videos, this is not the video for you. You just have to stop and quit. All right, so you need to watch the Shakira transgender transsexual video first. Then you need to watch the next video you're gonna watch after that. You're gonna watch it in the order that I just said. So okay, you need to watch the Michelle Obama, which is actually the part 1. It's called the Myth of Whiteness part 1, Michelle Obama transgender transsexual. And then after that, you need to watch the Derek Hugh transgender transsexual 1, Myth of Whiteness part 2. Then you watch the Derek Hugh transgender transsexual 2, Myth of Whiteness part 3. Then you watch the Sean Frieder Demi Moore transsexual Myth of Whiteness part 4. Then you watch Skrillex transgender transsexual Myth of Whiteness part 5 before you can get up to speed and watch this particular part 6, because this is like a continuation. I hope there shouldn't be any other part besides this, because I'm trying to make sure that I cover everything and answer all the pertinent questions, so you can understand that whiteness is a myth. You know, some people are shocked when some people get up to, especially if you're white, because when you hear that the whiteness is a myth, it's kind of shocking to you, and I can't blame you for it, because all through your life you've been brainwashed by the white supremacist Vatican to actually believing that the designation of white is either an ethnicity or a race, when it's not. It's a simple case of albinism. That's just the fact, and that's just the truth. So sometimes it's very, very shocking to some people, and they go through some sort of, like, let's say, shock that it's hard to make a grasp of. Yeah, and I can't really blame them, because prior to, let's say, designation of being called a white is something very, very new, and it's sometimes very shocking for people to find that out, that being designated as a white person is a terminology that's very, very new and just started existing around the late 1600s, which is a fact. All right, prior to that, there was no such thing as white. Okay, because some people, started in Asia designating themselves as a white, race, when it's actually a myth. So it's shocking, but you have to accept truth, because people argue with it. And it's so sad, because at this point in time, so many white folk would rather accept the fact that they're either alien or they have Neanderthal genes than being black. It's hilarious. Sorry if I'm laughing, but that's just the truth. Some people are so much in shock that they can't even think about it. And especially with the fact with the way the white supremacist Vatican has programmed people into thinking, that black people are like apes or chimpanzees and all that kind of stuff. It makes this white folk to be so shocked, and they can't even believe it. But there's no need for you to fight a losing battle, because in all truth and honesty, being black is a very, very good thing. Finding out that you're actually black rather than a Neanderthal or alien or what makes you actually a human being. There's no need to fight it. You're fighting a losing battle even if you try to fight, because you have to understand at the end of the day that if God made us black, He is a black man as well in all wisdom. You're fighting a losing battle against God. Does it make sense? So it's not gonna make you any. It's more like you're fighting against water or fighting against the ocean and seas. It's a losing battle. Or you fight against the sun. It's a losing battle. You're always gonna lose. Or you fight against air. Those are basic foundation building blocks in life. You're always gonna lose. So if you say you're fighting against blacks, or you're fighting against the idea, or fighting against the fact, it's not an idea that you're black, you're fighting a losing battle, because all you need to do is get in contact with a black person. All right, if you're white, marry the person or have kids with the person, and what comes out of that relationship is a black person, because you are black. You just lost the color. That's just all it is. All right. So there's no need fighting this losing battle. I'm going to show you an example of a very delusional person who's actually thinking that it's I mean that it can be possible that he's black. He just made me laugh. When I found out that I was black, I was happy. I was okay. That's great. That was great. So I'm going to show you that example sooner or later. But before I go any further, I like to put out some warnings, okay? If Because people, pick up the video, they actually see the title of the video. It talks about myth of whiteness. If you watch this video, you're watching it at your own discretion. You can't blame me for what you're hearing, because you can't unhear it, okay? So that's why I have to put up the warnings. First of all, if you do not like truth, if truth bothers you, if you like your so-called bubble that you're in, please just pause the video right here and just quit. Quit. Don't watch anymore, okay? Secondly, if you're racist, I've defined the meaning of racism in the Shakira video, because a lot of people make the misunderstanding and call me and tell me that I'm racist. All right? For someone to be racist, you have to hurt the person physically, all right, and wound the and give the and make the and induce or what's the right word, on induce bodily injury to the person for you to be racist, or you have to make them lose money, all right, injure them financially for it to be called racism. Those two things have to be, or either one or two of them have to be in effect for you to be called racist. All I'm doing is just making a video. And it's surprising me that people don't understand certain basic things about how to think. I'm just making a video. So what makes me racist there? Because I'm not hurting anybody physically. I haven't done anybody bodily harm or injury. I haven't made anybody lose money financially because of the color of their skin or their ethnicity. So what makes me racist there? Nothing. So people need to understand this before they just start throwing out words, okay? So that's just one of the warnings. If you're racist, then this is not the video for you. All right? If you're badly prejudiced against anybody, be it black, white, as the case may be, just stop the video right here and just quit. Don't watch it any longer. And then thirdly, there are channel rules in effect on this channel. There is no slandering of anybody's name as a transgender without you providing the facts centered about the female skeletal structure, which is designed to give birth. A woman's skeletal structure is designed to give birth, and because of that, she has an arch in her back because her pelvis is tilted forward so she can carry the weight of children, and the arch is extra support, all right, for carrying that particular weight of pregnancy. She has her hips below her crotch so they don't get in the way of childbirth, all right. She has a wide pubic arch so a baby can come forth from it. So if any of your comments start or do not start with those facts, and you start comments with such things as the person has a large jawline, the index fingers are longer, the arms are too long, the torso seems to be straight, and all that, or Adonis belts and all that nonsense that people have learned from other YouTube channels. You people know those YouTube channels already. Your comments are gonna be deleted, and you will be blocked from making any further comments on this channel. We do not accommodate slandering in any shape or form, and absolutely no children. Okay? So those are some of the warnings I need to tell you before you get on watching this video. So with that said, you guys know we are not against transgenders. We have no authority over transgenders. All what we're merely doing is catching people in a lie and exposing them. All right? They've given us no such authority to judge anyone. Whatever you do in your house is your business. We don't have any clue. We have no idea. We can't judge you for that. All what we're merely doing is presenting information to you. Whatever you make of it, that's up to you. All right? Then also, as usual, the Vatican hasn't changed. They are the ones responsible for the chaos in this world, the organized chaos of this world, and the organized transgendering of young children without their permission, when these children haven't reached the legal or adult age to make that decision to say, I want to live in a sex and or gender that's different from the sex and gender that we're born with. Like we're going to be presenting to you Donald J. Trump Jr. today. Okay? So that's that. So let's move on. So first of all, I just want to present some Vatican news that I think you guys should be aware of. You can actually pause the video and copy out the link right there, and you can go read up on it. Sorry to say. Now, this article is posted today, and you can see here it says a report uncovers nearly 100 sex abuse lawsuits against Catholic leaders in Guam. An investigation by the USA Today. Now, this is how the Vatican lies to you, because they own all these media networks. I'm just saying, when I'm sniffling, it's not because I'm sniffling because I'm finding it funny. I'm sniffling because the level of deception is there are no words to describe it. It's staggering beyond belief. All right. So first of all, these guys own everything for the Vatican. So even the website that I'm reading from, they own it. Okay? So even the USA Today network who's actually reporting the news, they own it. So one of the tricks of the Vatican is they give you a false sense of belief that there is actually some sort of, let's say, a position running in this world. So just let me give you a typical example. People think that there is a difference between Walmart, Target, and Stater Brothers when you buy food or groceries from. All right? People actually believe that there is a difference in those three companies. But if you go looking at those three companies behind the people who run it, they are all the same people. So they give you a false sense of, ideology that there's some sort of opposition, all right, that so you can get comfortable to put yourself in a camp. So some people will say, I like shopping at Walmart. Some will say, I like shopping at Target. It's just to give you that sense, that false sense of reality and belief that there is actually an opposition. It's just like people actually think there's a difference between Bank of America, Chase, and Citibank. They're all owned by the same people. Trace them all down. Go take a look. Take up some names. Start looking at the holding companies who hold all of them. They're all Vatican owned. So when you read the news like this, right, it just makes me laugh because you start thinking, oh, USA Today is actually working against the Vatican because USA Today made up this report. And HuffPost, right, you actually think that HuffPost is giving you a false sense of reality that they're actually in opposition. That's all nonsense. All what they're merely trying to do here is cover up. They're covering up for the Vatican because the Vatican owns them. Because the Vatican wants to keep people believing that they are just a religious institution. So that's what this whole setup is about. But nevertheless, let's read into the story. It says, report uncovers nearly 100 sex abuse lawsuits against Catholic leaders in Guam. And then it says, this person, right, this person actually writing the story, Antonia Bloomberg, is Vatican owned as well. But let's keep on reading. It says the latest sex abuse scandal to rock the Catholic Church shines a spotlight on the small, predominantly Catholic U.S. territory of Guam. According to an ongoing investigation by the USA Today Network Specific Daily News, Guam's Archdiocese of Agena is listed as a defendant in 96 lawsuits detailing abuses spanning nearly 40 decades. The two archbishops of Agena, as well as multiple priests, bishops, teachers, and even Boy Scouts leaders on the Western Pacific Island, are implicated in the suits. But the Vatican, they're trying to give people they're wickedly deceptive. They want to give people the comfort, all right, that there's actually a position and something is being done, and you give you that false sense of reality that they're actually trying to change things. You'll be surprised to know that there's nobody, even if you hear that a priest has been prosecuted, all right, for illegal or obscene acts against children on TV. It's all a lie. None of them has spent a night in jail. When they leave that courtroom and that show business they put up for you on TV, they're going home to an island and they're sleeping. That's what's happening. So the Vatican is the most deceptive organization the world has ever seen. It doesn't matter what color they come in. They were once black, they are now white. They are still doing the works of the devil, who's their father. All right? So that's just some news I just wanted to bring up to your attention so you can go look it up and read up some stuff. So I'll move on to something else. So since we're on the myth of whiteness, I want to play a clip here by this high degree Freemason Jesuit owned control lower strata of the Illuminati, Meryl Streep. Okay? Now, this particular, I want to, let me actually thank a sub who brought this to my attention. Let me find the name of the sub and just throw out a thanks to him. So the sub I want to thank for bringing up this particular video to my attention is actually called John Papuet, okay? John Papuet. So what I'm gonna play here is actually because just looking at this screen, I want you to let you know that Meryl Streep is a high degree Freemason. You can see all the Freemasonic symbology around her, right? You can see from right here, all of it, all of this Freemasonic symbology, all right? Like I said, all the companies are owned by the Vatican. Everything that's global in this world is owned by the Vatican, but they own it through proxies. Families that they've set up, all right, set up through maybe in vitro fertilization or anything. And there's so many of them. It doesn't matter if the name comes as a Rockefeller or a Rothschild, whatever name that's out there, those great families, they are all Vatican owned proxies, okay? So I'm gonna make a series to show you how people in Hollywood all look alike. That it is not some sort of coincidences. These people are actually bred to be in that position that they are at. Okay, so if you notice celebrities throughout when TV became the popular media of communication, all look alike. From 60s, from the 50s or 30s down to now, you seem to see that they all look alike in some way, shape, or form. Why? Because they are all bred in vitro fertilization from some eggs or sperm. So for example, let me just give you a typical example. Robert Redford looks like Brad Pitt. Do you think that's a coincidence? No, it's not. Okay, but let's just pull that aside. I'm gonna play this video right here to show you Meryl Streep saying, she says that we are all from Africa. Now, that is true and that is wrong at the same time. But what I want you to take from watching this video is that the Vatican, all right, and the Vatican, who's the Illuminati, and Meryl Streep, who's part of that lower strata, they all know for a truth that we are all black. So that's what I want you to take from this, that since they say we're all from Africa, right, it means that we are all black. They know this for a fact, right? But they'll paint the ideology that you're different from everybody else because they want to keep themselves in power. Racism is to keep the Vatican in power, which is white. I've already explained that. Without that, they know that the natural color of man is black, and therefore man will go back to being black. Being that there are black people around, they'll blacken up the world again. Does it make sense? So they have to have racism so they can separate, keep that population that keeps them in power. So that's just the way it works. Okay, so I'm gonna play the clip. I'm not sure if I should play the audio or I should play the video. I don't want to get any copyright infringements. So I just want you to notice that this is the video itself. I'm just gonna play the audio and then you're gonna listen to it. Okay, when we're done, then I'll come back and we'll play. We'll talk about something else. But I'll play it for now, and then you guys just listen. Okay. So you heard that perfectly clear, Meryl Streep saying. But you know, as usual, when the Vatican puts out truth, they also put out a lie at the same time, because the Vatican wants people to be so confused. So confused. They love confusion. All right? When confusion is there, then that is when their goals can be achieved, because that's why they say order out of chaos is a Freemasonic terminology. So you heard that. So in case you didn't hear it, like, well, very well. I don't know if I'm gonna get any copyright infringement. I would like to play the video, but you heard it, and I'm gonna play it again so you hear it one more time, so you don't think it was a mistake. I want you to hear it again. So you heard that perfectly well. Now, if you want to watch that clip, I'm gonna try to put a description of that particular clip in the video description section. You can actually copy out the link, but I'll put a description on for you so you guys can actually go and listen yourselves. So with that said, let's move on now into talking a little bit more about the Myth of Whiteness continuation series, just to lay some other just some things that I missed, which will make you understand the events that's happening around you, so you can know that all this is not by coincidence. It's well orchestrated, well organized. It's a well-oiled machine that the white supremacist Vatican has put in place to keep himself in power. All right, and one thing I want you guys to notice that this white Vatican today is going to be the last empire of this world. Make no mistakes about it. The next black man that runs this world is going to be Yehoshua himself. So this is the time. They're going to be running this world until Yehoshua comes back. So they're not going to let any, because they understand that, because the demons, like I've said before, the Vatican is controlled by demons and they answer only to the devil himself. They know that for a fact. And since the white supremacist Vatican has a lust for power, the devil is going to support them until God comes back. That's just the truth about it. All right. So let me start this story as I usually start with the Benjamin Franklin letter, which was written in 17 let me remember the date again, in 1751. I always want you guys to remember that date because it's very, very important in history, because this is when the white supremacist Vatican came into power and started breeding white people and breeding out blacks in so many nations and continents around the world to maintain a viable population that they could lay a hold and claim on power on. Okay, so that date is very, very important in 1751, because when you start noticing, or the so-called let's say white European history, it always starts after this date. And I can't blame them for it, because they want to be in power. They have to create some sort of false history for themselves, because they never existed or were designated as a race or ethnicity until around this time. Okay, so I want you guys to remember that. So I go into the document, all right? That's why you need to watch the whole series to get up to the point on this. And I'm going to read the document again. Okay, I'm going to read the document, then I'm going to show you a diluted guy on this particular 7-minute delusional comment section that I usually have on the video, to show you how diluted that white folk, so-called white folk, have become, because they've believed the lies of the Vatican and have actually never ever sat down to think and reason things through, all right, and actually know if it makes sense or not. You have a brain, you have to put it to work. So I continue reading this from this particular part of this particular story on Benjamin Franklin. I read again, and says, and since detachments of English from Britain sent to America will have their places at home so soon supplied and increase so largely here. So I want you to take note of those words. Increase. That was always the ideology behind the white supremacist Vatican. They had to increase themselves, because they were I don't know what's the right word to use. They were very, very small population, very, very small. Right, let me keep reading. It says, why should the Palatine Boers, Germans, be suffered to swarm into our settlements and by herding together establish their language and manners to the exclusion of ours? Why should Pennsylvania, founded by the English, become a colony of aliens who will shortly be so numerous as to Germanize us? So there's always that fear. The white supremacist Vatican, without racism, there are going to be Germanized. That means blackened. That's just the actual word. They're gonna turn black, and then they will have no hold on that power they love so much. So this is what of the greatest fear of the white supremacist Vatican, the blackening of the population. Okay, so let's keep on reading. Be so numerous as to Germanize us instead of our anglifying them, and will never adopt a language or customs any more than they can acquire our complexion, because a black man can acquire the complexion of a white person, because when he takes him, he's going to turn black. That's just fact. So let's keep on reading, which leads me to add one remark, that the number of purely white people in the world is proportionally I'm mixing my words, I'm sorry, it's proportionably very small. Okay, very small. As you can see, that I didn't say it, Benjamin Franklin said it. Okay, all Africa is black or tawny. Black is the same thing as tawny. There's no difference. Asia, chiefly tawny, meaning black. America, and you'll see in a second that that's what he actually means. America is also black, meaning that the indigenous people of this country, who have been termed African Americans, are and were and still remain black. Exclusive of the newcomers, meaning exclusive of Benjamin Franklin's so-called British people who came. All right, they were all black. The whole Americas were black, wholly so. And in Europe, the Spaniards, in Europe, says the Spaniards, Italians, French, Russians, Swedes are generally of what we call a swarthy complexion. That is still another word for black. So as the Germans also, the Saxons only accepted, which means the English, and who with the English make the principal body of white people on the face of the earth. I could wish, he goes on saying here, I could wish their numbers were increased. So it was always the aim that they ought to increase their numbers, being that they had come into power and had started taking over the power structures of the world in the Vatican. All right, And while we are, as I may call it, scarring our planet, so you understand what they were doing. They were scarring the planet, scarring the world, all right, to make for themselves a population, a nation, because they never existed before. By clearing America of woods and so making this side of our globe reflect a brighter light to the eyes of inhabitants in Mars or Venus, why should we, in the sight of superior beings, darken its people? I want us to read that again. Why should we, in the sight of superior beings, darken its people? Why increase the sons of Africa by planting them in America? So, that with that said, I want to go back to a deluded comment that someone wrote, right? This guy's name is called Freiburg. This is a very delusional person. I actually think he's white, all right, just from the way he's writing, because he feels there's a need to actually maybe bring this up to my attention of what's it, because he's just arguing out of point, all right. It's shocking to him that, because I if you want to actually see my response, because when he wrote this article, I responded back, and I told him that that it must be shocking to him that the so-called black people that the white supremacist Vatican has made other white people to label as chimpanzees and apes, that he happens to be one of them. And that is so shocking to them, because that's the label he's been calling black people. Probably that's what I responded to him. So, Mr. Freiberg, if you're out there, I want to put this article in front of you so you can actually see that I didn't say this. Benjamin Franklin, a so-called white founding father of America, says this, that why darken, right? I want him to take a good look at it. I'm pulling it over to the side so he can actually see if he watches this video, because I think he's watched The Myth of Whiteness, so I want him to see it very clearly down here. All right, let me pull it as much as I can. Oh, what's wrong with my screen? Hold on a second. I'm trying to pull it to one side so he can actually see this. Okay, all right. So he says, why increase the sons of Africa, darken its people? Why increase the sons of Africa? That means he's saying that if they're white and they're allowing so many black people to come into the Americas or come into their colonies, that they are gonna darken its people. So, Mr. Freiberg, did you see this? Because you suddenly developed amnesia and couldn't see this. Let me read what you said. You said, Tawny and swarthy is clearly not the same as black, even though it may be listed as a synonym. You didn't talk about the olive complexion, tan, sun tanned, etc. So today we still have tawny Italians and others from Southern Europe, just as Franklin described there. Asians aren't black, even though some can be pretty dark complexion. Is a difference of color beyond simply how darker people are, but also the hue. You probably never saw this, Mr. Freiberg, that Benjamin Franklin said, why darken his people? And he said, in order for you to see that's what he said, he says, why increase the sons of Africa? That is very deliberate. That before 1751, people were still very, very black. Okay? All right, so let me move on to something else that I want you guys to take note of. So what I want to show you now is a story about Toussaint Louverture. Toussaint Louverture is from Haiti. Now, this particular story is of very, very great importance, because the whole reason I'm doing the Myth of Whiteness Part 6 right here is to explain the tools used by white supremacists to make sure that the world does not get darker, just like Benjamin Franklin had said, so they can maintain and increase the whiteness to continue to keep themselves, the white supremacist Vatican, in power. So the story now that I want to tell you starts with a guy called Toussaint Louverture, and I want you to take a note of the date. Remember, I said 1751 was the date, that time frame in which the white supremacist Vatican started making the world whiter, as Benjamin Franklin had said. Now, what I want you to know here is on Toussaint Louverture. I'm using Wikipedia as usual. As usual, when you're reading, you have to read with knowledge and put your brain to work. Now you can see right. He says Toussaint Louverture began his military career as a leader of the 1791 slave rebellion in the French colony of Saint Domingue. All right, Saint Domingue. So the year right there is 1791. That means 1791 is probably 40 years from 1751. Remember that. That's a timeline that you have to understand. Now, before I get into this story, right, I want to lay a foundation for you to understand what Haiti was all about. Now, people don't know where Haiti is on the map, so today I'm going to show you the map of Haiti. Now, Haiti was formerly called Saint Domingue. All right, it was probably called Saint Domingue before the French and the Spanish separated this one land block of Haiti into the Dominican Republic, which is a Spanish colony, and a Haiti, which is a French colony. All right. So now the story I want to tell you about Haiti, because I want to just give you a little bit of facts that you guys don't know. When the guy who was named as the founder of America, because he didn't even find anything, he's just maybe the first person who laid claim on a name, was Christopher Columbus. This is the island that Christopher Columbus landed on. Christopher Columbus never got to the Americas. So when you hear that Christopher Columbus was killing and raping and pillaging the Aboriginal people, he was doing so in this land block that is called Haiti and Dominican Republic. Okay? Now, as you can see right here, there are so many islands because you can see this is one land block. All right? It was called Saint Domingue. Okay? You can see Jamaica over here. You can see Cuba here. All these were Aboriginal black people who were here. All right? And as usual, the Vatican did a good work. All right? They tried whitenizing some of them, but Haiti still remains black. And I will give you tell you why that all is the case. And the Dominican Republic has a little bit of, ethnic mix of white and black, but there's still largely a black population. So let's go through the history of Saint Domingue for you to guys notice something else. So Saint Domingue, now it's called was a French colony on the Caribbean island of Hispaniola from 1659 to 1804. The French had established themselves in the western portion of the islands Hispaniola and Tortuga 1659. Now there is one thing I want you to note about Saint Domingue, which means the whole landmass that has now been differentiated into the Dominican Republic and the Haiti. As you can see here, it says the religion is Roman Catholicism. So when I'm always talking about the fact, all right, that it is the Vatican, because I want people to misunderstand me, because some people say, okay, white people, killed black people. That's too much a large from, because not all white people kill black people. So I always like using specifics to make you understand that it was white supremacist Vatican. I'm going to show you an example right now in a picture. So for example, here is a picture, okay? I always like using this picture. You can see this man over here over Aboriginal people, which happen to be in Australia, black Aboriginal people. Now, someone might say it's a white man, but you have to understand, all right, that nobody goes to war without having a commander, all right? That commander is the white supremacist Vatican. This man by himself cannot do anything. He has to go under authorities of whosoever he's working for. And I can bet you that the generation of this man who committed all these crimes are high up in the hierarchy of power control today. His descendants are probably having so much money and prestige because the Vatican keeps tracks of all the people that have worked for them throughout the years. These are some of the proxies that they use to create or families to run this world. And I'm going to be sure that this man's descendants is amongst one of them. Okay, so that's just about the side. So let's go back into the history of Haiti for you to understand what was happening here. I'm just going to give you a short history lesson on Haiti. So I'm going to be using it to tie into what's happening around the world so you can understand what's really going on. Now, so here's what happened. Now, Toussaint Louverture, all right, set up a rebellion in Haiti to free Haiti from the French control that they had over that island. All right. So now you have to remember that if you go back way back in history, you find out that Saint Domingue was one of the most profitable slave colonies in the whole world. So what made it so profitable was because these people were planting crops such as sugar cane, wheat, barley. They had so much money, all right, because of this agricultural activity way back in the day. Because you have to know that way back the colonialists, sorry, were going about trying to increase themselves, so they needed to increase themselves also economically to maintain a viable population of white people so that they could still have that hold over power. All right, so Saint Domingue became very, very profitable. But as usual, Toussaint Louverture started a rebellion, him and some other folks, because of he didn't like the way he was being treated. And Toussaint Louverture, with the fact that he had guns and he had support from his own people, he won the rebellion and threw out the white supremacist Vatican, right? People who were running that particular part of the island at that point in time. So the white supremacist Vatican now lent a very strong lesson from Haiti. So I'm trying to tell this story so you know the reason why Haiti is suffering. So now remember, Haiti was trading in agricultural goods. So after Toussaint Louverture, right, won the rebellion, Haiti had a lot of agricultural goods to sell. So the white supremacist Vatican started thinking, now this black man has defeated us because one, he had the guns, he had the money, he had the population. If this kind of thing, right, keeps on happening, the power that we have, the so-called stranglehold that we have on power right now, is going to be taken away from us. So we have to make sure that we do not allow black people in general to have this kind of advantage in having guns, having a population, having one mind. Otherwise, we are not going to remain in power. So before I continue the story, let me finish with the story of why Haiti is the way it is today. So Toussaint Louverture and his rebellion won over the white supremacist Vatican. They're in control of the island. They want to start selling the agricultural goods that they had, like the sugar, the barley, the wheat, and everything else. So the white supremacist Vatican blocks that from happening. It tells every other nation around Haiti not to buy any Haitian goods. So you can imagine the whole of Haiti now is stuck with goods, but their goods are being boycotted. Nobody will buy from them because the white supremacist Vatican has said no one should buy from Haiti. So Haiti is nearly having so much of agricultural goods to sell, but there is no exchange for any other thing to survive on. So the Haitian people, after Toussaint Louverture, now started asking, okay, how do we get back? How do we make you guys now? They're now pleading. How do we now make you buy a good so we can have something for ourselves in exchange for something else that we can live on? So the white supremacist Vatican tells Haiti, you have to pay us a certain amount of dollars because during the Haitian Revolution, okay, you guys destroyed all the things that we built, and so you owe us money. So if you pay us this money, we'll allow your goods to be sold on the international market and other people can buy from you. So Haiti now asks the Vatican, how much do we have to pay you? The white supremacist Vatican says you have to pay us about a billion or seven. The money ran up to billions of dollars. You can go look up this investigation and just know the history yourself. So Haiti starts trying to pay the money. But as usual, the white supremacist Vatican makes it very difficult for you to repay your debt, just like it's happening in the Americas. So they pile on what they call interest rate. So the interest rate, right, for the money that you owe them keeps on increasing. So you can never ever pay. So because of Haiti trying to pay off that debt, Haiti has run broke. That's why Haiti is so broke today. Then let's just fast forward now to the current history. Haiti went through an earthquake, and people started, sending money to Haiti and everything. You probably heard all these stories, sending money for the redevelopment of Haiti and everything else and everything else. And people keep wondering why, if all the money they donated to Haiti, where has the money gone to? The white supremacist Vatican is still at work. It's making sure that Haiti as an example is an example to anybody who's black, all right? Serves an example to make sure that black people will never ever rise up against the white supremacist Vatican, because this will be the consequences. So when people send money to Haiti for the earthquake, that money's gone. The Vatican's taking it. So it never gets to Haiti, and Haiti remains poor and broke because they led an example to show that the white supremacist Vatican is not what it appears to be, that is not all strong and mighty, that it can be taken down. All right? So now why am I saying all this? I'm showing you that there is a reason why black people around the world, except they're stooges, that means they're working under the Vatican, working for the Vatican against their own people, cannot be made to be successful as much as their white counterpart. Because racism, all right, and black people have to be kept in disarray so they can never ever rise up as a power against the Vatican. So how do they do this? They make sure that a black person does not produce anything. They make sure that a black person is not in charge of production or in charge of distribution. They can make him a retailer, but make sure that he does not produce any goods or is not in charge of any goods. So for example, if you go all around the world in all black nations, the production of anything at all, it doesn't matter what good or services, are not black owned. They are all white supremacists owned. And how do they do this? They use selfish black people to make sure this happens. Okay? So here's another story that you guys have to understand. So for example, way back we had a story of a Flint water crisis happening in Michigan. All right? This story starts with that the water in Michigan is contaminated. Now, if you read this story of Flint water being contaminated with lead or something like that. Now, this is from CNN itself, one of the Vatican white supremacist Vatican-owned media as well. It says here, Flint, located 70 miles north of Detroit, is a city of 98,310, where 41.2% of residents live below the poverty line. and the median household income is $24,000 and so. According to the US Census Bureau, the median household income for the rest of Michigan is 49,000. The city is 56.6% African American. Well, if they say it's 56.6, you can be guaranteed that it's up to like 70 or 80% African American in that area. Now, the Flint water crisis was a crisis in which a lot of people started wondering why. And black people can't seem to understand why this is always happening to black neighborhoods. All right? So for another case, we heard of a case of Ebola. Remember Ebola? Ebola was a 2014 Ebola outbreak in West Africa. It happened somewhere in Guinea, Sierra Leone, Liberia, and just for the white supremacist Vatican to confuse a lot of people, so people don't actually catch what's going on, understand what is going on. They made like 2 or 3 people in the United States, and then United Kingdom and Italy, Spain, catch a little bit of the disease, so people don't, is a cover up, so people don't understand that it is just targeting blacks only. Because a lot of people, I remember one time Chris Brown was saying this thing is targeting blacks only, but I guess that's why Chris Brown is in so much trouble, because he's starting to sneak away from his control mechanism of which the white supremacist Vatican has laid a hold on him. So this is not just another story, right? For you to understand that Ebola was targeting just black folks, as you can see in West Africa. And then the Flint water crisis also targeted black folks. So why is all this happening? And mostly with black people. Because like I've said earlier, the Vatican has come to understand, just like Benjamin Franklin has said, that if you have too many black people running around, they're going to darken the population, and then they are not going to be the ones in power anymore. So they've come to understand that little drops of rain fill a bucket. So if you kill a few black people over here, kill a few black people over there, kill a few black people over there, you are slowing down the darkening, right, of the population to being black, so that you can still maintain and keep yourselves in power. All right? It's because without a white population for them to rule over, they can't really be the rulers. How can you rule a world when the people that you're ruling over don't look like you? It's that simple. So when you hear of all these strange things happening, Ebola's killing a few black people over there, the Flint water crisis is making a few black people sick over here, you have black males in the United States being 70% of the majority in prison, it's all about maintaining the whiteness of the population so they can have a control over it. Because they have come to understand, they know for a fact that being white as a designation or an ethnicity or a race is falsehood. It's not true. It's not possible. Because as you heard, as Meryl Streep had said, we are all black, and she used it in the term, we are all from Africa. So why then do we have to keep maintaining this system of racism and believing in the myth of whiteness? It's because the Vatican has made us to believe in a myth. So that's what I wanted to share with you on this particular myth of whiteness. And from there, we're going to switch gears now and head over to Donald Trump Jr. and figure out what's wrong with him. Let's go. So as usual, I'm going to start off by playing a clip for you to show, or for you to see where a female's hip is at, standard anywhere in the world, because without this, a woman can't fit into clothes. The clothes wouldn't fit. So you know that a female's hip is always below her crotch, so she can have easy access to childbirth. Alright? So I play the clip. As you can see, that's a woman. For those who think I'm racist, I'm just playing a video. Playing a video has nothing to do with racism. All right? I did not injure anybody bodily. I didn't harm anybody or wound anybody in their body physically. I did not injure their finances either, which are the two constituents for racism. I'm just playing a video of a white woman who's actually a human being also and female. So get it into your head because I find some ridiculous comments on this channel. I mean, somebody actually left me a comment saying that they don't like the way that I'm using the term nappy for hair for black people. And I tried to explain to them that using the word nappy, I'm not using it out of insult. If I am, I apologize sincerely from the bottom of my heart. I have no intention of insulting anybody. All right? But people are so trivial. When the white supremacist Vatican is enslaving and killing Aboriginal people and using racism to divide the people so they can keep themselves in power, the least thing that you should worry about is the term for black hair. But people are just they have been so brainwashed that trivial things matter. Instead of getting to the meat of the bones of the matter, you're worrying about how I call hair. The reason why, so somebody suggested I should use the word kinky. I'm like, kinky doesn't really people may misunderstand what the meaning of kinky hair is. It may not be really understandable to some people. It could mean something else. So I use nappy because everybody understands that. So I'm gonna keep playing the video. I'm playing a video. I have nothing to do with racism. I'm not even prejudiced. Okay, so let's go. So this female, as you can see, her hips are below her crotch. Without that, she can't give birth. It's not possible. So the tape goes around to show you where a female's hip is at. As you can notice, it's below the crotch, not above it, below. So the female turns around so you can see where it's at from the back. It's always going to be just slightly above the bum line, but below the crotch. Remember that. So with that, I move on to a document. As usual, I show you that a female always has an arch in her back. The arch is because the pelvis is tilted forward. The pelvis is tilted forward so a baby can stay inside the pelvis and not drop out. The arch is necessary for an extra support for the weight of carrying children, and also the female spine is very flexible so it can do that. A man's back is straight. If a man's back wants to arch, he's gonna arch outside like a D or a P. It doesn't matter. If the man tries to arch his back, trying to fake an arch like maybe Beyonce, who's a dude, and Serena Williams, who's a dude, I'm always going to be talking about this too because they're one of the greatest deceptions in this whole transgender game that the Vatican has put upon the masses. Their backs are straight. So I'm going to scroll down to the document for you to see that a female always has an arch in her back. If a female or woman best tries to bend her back outside, is going to bend much more than that of a man. It's going to look like a humpback because of the flexible spine she has. If she bends it inwards, it's going to bend much more that you see the C shape inside the spine. Now, some people are going to say I'm using a white woman, that I should use a black woman. But you have to understand that the word there is woman. Woman. It doesn't matter if she's black or she's white. I'm just presenting facts. It's all about truth here. That's all you need to know. I keep scrolling into the document for you to see that a woman will always have an arch in her back. It doesn't matter if she's big, fat, or small. Sorry, my pictures are loading, and let it load. So as you can see right here, there is a small female to my right. She has an arch, C-shaped arch in her back. and the pelvis is tilted forward like a woman should be. There's a woman, big lady to my left. She still has an arch in her back, and the pelvis is tilted forward. That's showing that's a woman. And here's some females with muscles. As you can see right here, there's still an arch in the back. Muscular female, arch in the back. Muscular female, arch in the back. So let's go to Donald J. Trump. Now, what do you notice about Donald J. Trump first of all? Right? That suit looks like it has an arch in the back. Do you think Donald J. Trump is a man? I'm thinking is a funny looking female. Now looking at the face, at the skull. Now remember things about measuring skulls. I've always said if you're going to compare skulls of two people, being that the male skull is 10% larger than the female because it has a larger cranial nerve, capacity, because the brain of a male is at the least 10% bigger than that of a female based on the same height and taking account of the weight. And remember, you always have to compare skulls of the same ethnicity because black people's skulls are larger than their counterpart because of their melanin content. So looking at this two skulls, is Donald J. Trump's skull reasonably larger than that of his so-called wife? I don't think so. But people might say, I think it might be. No worries. It's because of the way the face is facing. I'm going to show you some more pictures. But looking at this suit right here, Donald J. Trump is a woman. Some more pictures. All right, here's another picture. Now, Eric Trump is also a son, a supposed son of Donald Trump. But I guarantee you, let me not say I guarantee because I don't like slandering. I'm not a slanderer. I'm saying he looks suspicious. I'll look into him more. If I find out that he is not adding up, then I'll make a video. But just by looking at this dude, the Q angle doesn't look right already. I'm seeing an hourglass figure right there. We'll come back to you later. But for now, we're on Donald J. Trump Jr. Looking at that suit again, as you can see, there is an arch in the back. And as usual, the arch always starts below the shoulder blades. Is that the shoulder blade right there? It starts dipping. By the time it gets, just before it gets to the navel, it starts coming out into the pelvis. As you can see, even through clothes, that this dude has an arch in the back. So Donald J. Trump is not a man. Junior, let me put it right. Donald J. Trump Jr. is not a man. He looks very feminine. Next picture. Donald J. Trump again. And I'm looking. He has a Q angle that's very acute while he's walking. And as you can see right here, there's some sort of deception going on. They try to put something in the pocket. As you can see, it's very, something is inside this pocket, trying to make it look like it has a straight hip. But I can guarantee you that this is a Q angle right here. I don't know what this is doing inside this pocket right here. Trying to make it feel or look like a straight hip or straight thigh of a man. But the Q angle is not lying. It's way too acute. Donald J. Trump Jr. is a woman. Next slide. How did I get this picture in here? Who do I have in here? It's a wrong picture. I'm sorry. I need to move over. This is Donald J. Trump again. And he's playing golf. And you can still see the arch in the back. Donald J. Trump Jr. is not a man. Donald J. Trump Jr. is a woman. Alright, another picture. Here is Donald J. Trump with Eric Trump. Look at that. What do you see right there? Remember, a female waist. The indentation of female waist starts above the navel. So when a woman turns, her waist is going to turn from above the navel. If this is Donald J. Trump's navel, I'm assuming right here. Look at the creases on this cloth from where it's turning. Where is it turning? It's turning from the waist, which is above the navel. Same with Eric Trump right here. But I'm not saying anything. I'm just saying I'm looking at the facts for now. We'll feature him later if we find something off. But with Donald J. Trump Jr., that looks like an arch in the back, the waist of a female above the navel. Donald J. Trump is a woman. Another picture. Why do I keep having this guy on my pictures? I'm sorry. Okay, look at this. Donald J. Trump. See that stuff that I showed you before? And this is a different picture. So that means it's always in there. Is he trying to say that this is a phone? This is a very long phone, if it's actually a phone. I don't think it's a phone. But nevertheless, what we're looking at is how Donald J. Trump walks. The Q angle is way too acute because that's where a female's hip is at. A male's hip is always higher above the crotch. If he was male, the Q angle will start way higher up here. But it's starting right here because that's where his hip is at. Donald J. Trump is a female. Hips are below the crotch. And the Q angle says it's female. Alright, another picture. Donald J. Trump. Now, in this particular picture, what you have to know is this, which I would just want to bring this to your attention. You've probably done it so many times and you couldn't tell. If you're male and female and you guys are walking together, when you put your arm around the woman that you're walking with or the man that you're walking with, your arms will always try to find the, let's say, the narrowest point in the body, which is always the waist of a man or the waist of a woman. So when you're walking side by side, a man and a woman, your arms will try to find the narrowest point in the body, which is the waist. So in this case, this woman, Donald J. Trump Jr.'s wife, is trying to hold Donald J. Trump. And her arms are naturally trying to find the narrowest point in Donald J. Trump's body, which is always gonna be at where the arch of a female starts. That's why that arm, as you can see right there, it's right there because that's the narrowest point of Donald J. Trump Jr. on his body, which indicates that this is a woman. As usual, you can see the head sizes almost the same because he's just a little bit taller than his wife or her wife. Alright, another picture. So, this is another picture. As you can see, even through them clothes, alright, there is still an arch in that back because Donald J. Trump is female. Alright, some more pictures again. Look at Donald J. Trump, and what do you notice about the shoulders and the arms? The arms are following the contours of the body. The shoulders are not sticking outside like it should be for a man. And look at the Q angle again, right there, alright? The arms following the contours of the body. Short shoulders. Donald J. Trump is Jr. is a woman. I have to keep saying that. Donald J. Trump Jr. is a woman. Now here's a picture of Eric Trump. I just put this up because, like I said, this dude looks suspiciously female. I'm not gonna say anything until I get some more pictures because I'm not concentrating on it. The hourglass figure is there, and look at those breasts. They tried to maybe remove it, but you can still see the breast of a woman. It's still the breast of a woman. Well, it's suspicious for now. I'm not gonna say anything, so pardon me. It's suspicious. I'm not saying he's female. I'm saying he's suspicious until I do some more investigation. Another picture. Now, this is a picture I found of Donald J. Trump, and you can imagine how these people lie and deceive. This guy is a so-called pastor. Is he gonna tell me that he doesn't know that this is a female and he's praying for him in the name of Jesus? Let me actually pull up the website so you can actually see who this dude is. So they say here that Sunday morning, 2 days before America votes for the next president of the United States, Donald Trump Jr. spoke at two Virginia churches, mentioning issues of faith and speaking of his family's commitment to America. He spoke at a Hispanic parish in Reston, Virginia, called Ecclesia USA, and then made his way over to Heritage Baptist Church in Woodbridge. So can you see the level of deception that the Vatican has put upon people? That they can have this person posing as a man and a so-called fake Christian pastor praying for him because they are not about the God or Yehoshua of the Bible. This is ridiculous. All right, let's move on to our next slide. Okay, here's another picture of Donald J. Trump Jr. And what do you notice? That thing is still in his pocket, trying to hide the hips. It's not a coincidence, my brother, because this guy, I don't know where he's going at with this still in his pocket, and he's always in that pocket. What is it for? But the Q angle never lies. Is the Q angle of a female. And the arms are still following the contours of the body. The arms, the shoulders are not sticking out. Donald J. Trump is a woman. So here's another picture, comparison of the skulls again. As you can see, these skulls are almost of the same size. The only difference is like he's slightly heavier. That means he has more fat, and he's slightly taller than his wife, or her wife, as I should call him right now. Donald J. Trump is a woman. Another picture, you can see that arch in the back, arch in the back, arch in the back. Donald J. Trump is a woman. Another picture. So can you see what I'm saying now? Remember, I showed you the other picture that it is natural for your arms to follow where the narrowest point in a person's body is, because that's the easiest place for you to put your arms around. Your body, your hands just naturally follow when you're trying to hold somebody or embrace somebody around the narrowest point. And the narrowest point of Donald J. Trump, like his wife is putting her hands around him, is right there, because that's where the arch in the back is, which is above the navel, the female indentation. That is Donald J. Trump's waist. It's not a coincidence. I've shown you two pictures. There is no such thing as a coincidence. Let's keep going. Here's another picture again, so you can see it right there. It's still the same, different pictures, but the hands are still going round where Donald J. Trump's waist is at, which is above the navel. That's why her wife is putting her hands there. So you can see it's two different pictures. You can see that the faces, right? Different face, smile. Different face, smile, but our hands are still there around the waist. Donald J. Trump is a woman. At this picture, all you need to take a look at the way this thing sits. Why is the feet or the legs or the thighs so wide apart? Because Donald J. Trump Jr. has a wide pubic arch of a female. That's why those legs are awkwardly apart, because that is a woman spreading her legs and pretending to say it's male. A man doesn't spread his legs that way because his pubic arch is narrower, 90 degrees or less. Donald J. Trump Jr. is a woman. Okay, not a picture. And what do you see about Donald J. Trump? Is that the way a man walks? Can you see where his waist is at? That's where he's twisting from. Twisting all the way down. And look at where the Q angle starts. That's the crotch right there, and it's starting below it, because Donald J. Trump is a female. A cute Q angular female. Hourglass figure. That's how my mama would walk, because Donald J. Trump Jr. is a woman. Alright, some more pictures. And here is Donald J. Trump's wife. Her name is Vanessa Trump. And we've featured Leonardo DiCaprio before. And Leonardo DiCaprio is a woman. So it seems like it runs in the family. They set up these people, alright, to date certain people and give you the appearance. So if his wife, Donald J. Trump Jr., was dating Leonardo DiCaprio and is now the wife of Donald J. Trump Jr., it's no mere coincidence. These people are put in place, manufactured to give you the false appearance that these are males when they're females. All right. So with that, I come to the end of today's show. I hope you learned something. Sorry if it was a long video. Um, please don't leave any ridiculous comments. If you don't like the video, just quit and go. You already saw the name. It's called Myth of Whiteness. All right. If you learned something, that's great. Subscribe, stay tuned, and I'll leave you with these words. I do not just say them for the sake of saying them. I'm saying it because it's truth, and you need to listen. You need to do what the words tell you. Look with your eyes and see with your brain. Thanks, and bye-bye.